All right, so today we're gonna be doing this dog. It looks hard, but I'll simplify it down. So we're not gonna do too much of the background, just trying to focus on the face and how to draw the face. So yeah, if you
Very
want to stay.
beautiful. Very, very beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, this is my dog. He's 4 years old.
Oh, she's your dog.
Yeah, his name is Cosmo.
That's a beautiful. Did you draw it? Is that a drawing or a photograph?
Oh, that's not a drawing. That's just a photo. If you want the colored one, I just go to that's the original.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
in the snow.
Uh-huh. That's
Yeah,
really
so,
nice.
So here's a reference. I'll keep it up for a little bit more.
But let's, yeah, just keep it up for a little bit more because people are joining.
Okay, let me know when you tell me to stop and then I'll start. So with that image, first we must start off with the general shape. So looking at our reference photo, it's a very simplified version. Always want to work from big to small. So don't start with the details like the eyes. You want to start with the general shape. So here's what the shape looks like. It's a big triangle, some ears at the top. Okay, so let's start by sketching with our blue pen. So the dog is somewhere on the left, but you can put it anywhere. I'm going to put it on the left and just landmark. I think if you were in Jenny's class, she would have talked about landmarking, which is like pointing and then making sure that things relate to each other. So where is the corner of the dog? Let's put it right here. Then just lightly sketch a triangle. It's kind of round. Can you see that? Or should I go darker?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, I'll make it a little bit darker. Yeah, remember to do it very lightly so you can kind of cover up if you make a mistake. It's always good to go large. Unfortunately, I have very small paper today. But yeah, if you have large paper, it's easier to do the sketch. Okay, and then if that's all good, we're going to move on to the head or the shape of the head. So it's round, connect this part down here a little bit, down here, just connect with the round line. And same on the other side. And I'm going to draw a reference line for the eyes, where the eyes are. And it's somewhere above the middle of the face. So let's say right about here. That's where the eyes are. Oh, May, do you want me to share the screen again for people who just joined?
You can. Okay.
Okay, I'll share just once more. So this is what we're doing today. Just want to take a screenshot. Okay. And we're back. All right, so we do the general shape first. Shapes are very important. So work from large to small. Okay, and let's landmark the eyes. So the eyes, let's do the eyebrows first, or the top of the head. So the dog, he has some sort of pattern on the face. I'll just bring this closer to the screen. And the eyeballs are somewhere down here. If you look at it, it's kind of like a triangle, not a circle. And compared to the ear, the corner of the eye is right below where that starts. Let's sketch out the fur in the ears. For the nose, also connects to the eyes. So if you take the corner of the ears and this drop, imagine a line going all the way down. Somewhere right there, you're going to create a triangle. And then let's draw the bottom of the mouth. So we finished off the head. Mouth is a little bit below the nose, right here. So that's his chin. And if you want, here's an earlier example I did. It's kind of like the style that we're going for. Just put it there for reference. Okay, so once you have the chin down, draw the side of the mouth. So what's happening here is that his lips are shortened, so it looks like a small smile. Stop right there. On the other side, sketch the face, the edge of his mouth. Now that I'm looking at it, I think we should make the eyes a little bit closer. So I'm going to try and correct that. Let's move it in a little bit. And above those are his eyebrows. Just a few short lines like this. And then same on this side. If you want, you can fill in the eyes. And then next, we're going to define the top of his nose. So the curve, this shape over here, bring it just below the eyes. How we're going to do that is draw very light half circle. You can see this. And shade in this direction. So what that looks like. And then you're going to connect his nose to the side of his face. So the interesting part about Cosmo's face is that he has this line, almost like eyeliner, coming from his eyeballs. So just from the corner of his eyes, his fur is really dark around this part. So we're going to somehow connect this over here. First, start with, I would say, draw the line that actually connects from the eyes. It goes down and then up. So it curves down and up like an S. Over here you can't really see it, so just down and up. Okay, and this entire side of the face is shaded the same way that we did the nose. So just follow the fur, which spreads out from his face. And leave this part mostly light. And let's shade in the top of the head. So let's shade in all of this over here. After we've done the head, we're going to move on to the ears. So in our reference image, the ears are actually very large. So we're going to make these a little bit larger, at least the one on my paper. So I think the projectile from here, make the ears a bit longer. And this one as well. It looks like a mouse. Okay, so the tips of his ears are very dark. So let's start from the darkest and work down. So from the very top, these are actually a little bit too sharp, so I'm going to round them out. Just shade downwards following the fur growth. And how we do the fur that's coming out from the side of his head, it's covering the ear a little bit, is we're going to draw a few lines here to show that there's light hair coming out, and tell ourselves, okay, we're not going to draw over here, but make sure that the inside of his ear down here, it is darker because, well, it's going into his head, so it's a little bit darker for sure. So just leave a little bit of white space between the head and the ears. So leave this part. Okay. And on the other side, same thing. The fur goes out that way. See this? It goes poof, make this part a little bit darker, the top of his ears, so that's a little bit of a pattern. So for the fur that is flying away from his face, the really soft edges, what I'd like to do is create a little pattern. First fur goes up, and then the second one curves down. So let's just curve up, curve down multiple times. As you can see here, there's curve that goes up and then also curve that goes down. And then below that, it goes down and then curves back up. So it goes up, down, down, up. Something like that. That's what you're gonna do all around the edges, really lightly. So not as dark as this, but very lightly. Just all over the place. In whatever shape you want. That'll help you create the soft fur look instead of having it look like hair. So let's do that. Curve up, then down, down, up. Okay. Just keep going. We're gonna do that for the rest of the hair, but let's move on and figure out what to do with the side of his fur. So he has a little bit of a mane, which are the darker parts that frame his face. So to me, it kind of looks like a heart shape, if you will. So the dark parts actually start from the corner of his ear, dark parts, and then go all the way down. In that shape. But it doesn't go all the way down. It goes kind of around here, just above the ground. So if you can create one S shape, an S shape that goes down like that, really lightly. On the other side, it's a little bit different because he's tilted looking that way. instead of an S shape that goes to the middle, it's an S shape that goes to the edge. Yeah, make sure this one is lower than that one. It doesn't really matter, but it does help create the effect. The effect that he's turned away. Okay, so that's the top part, and then underneath kind of goes also like that. So this one. And just don't even close it, just leave a few strands, a few lines. We'll come back to that later. Let's do this side. So this line, that one. I'm gonna do it on this side. Oh, I forgot the nose. Sorry. Okay, if you're working on this, we're gonna move back to the nose. I forgot about that one. So it's the darkest part of his face, but we're actually gonna sketch out the highlights. So it's not very visible here, but this little top part will be the highlight. So actually somewhere in the middle is the highlight. If you look at the original photo, just sketch out that little place, leave it white for now. And everywhere around it is pretty dark. Sketch out the nose holes, the nostrils. It's kind of funny right now, but we'll fill it in. It'll look better. So start shading it in. Like that. If you want, add a few random lines everywhere, just to show that it's blending into skin and not randomly placed there. Shape is kind of like an apple. It's a long hexagon. There's like a line going down the middle, nostrils on the side, and the sparkly bit on top. And then this is the darkest. And make that a little bit darker, and then you'll have the nose. this a little bit wider. I'm actually going to come back to the face and blend this part out a little bit. Like this one, it's a little bit more blended. It's not as a sharp edge, so blend the edge out by sketching. This is a little bit softer. Continue adding more layers if you want. Okay, if we're ready, we're going to do the sides of his face. So the mane, these parts. Let's start from this side. So just shade in the direction of the fur. This is the lightest part. So keep that a little bit empty. So kind of like that. And then shade all of this a medium value. So slightly, not entirely white. And the edges, there's a little bit of black. So for here, make the edges really dark. So kind of like this one, put over here. And he does have another bit here. This will be a little bit lighter than this black. Dark, but not the darkest. Okay. And I'm gonna move back to the face and make this plane or this side of his face a little bit darker. Because right now what it looks like is that it's blending into one shape. So we kind of want to show that, oh, this is the face and then that's the fur. So like this, we're gonna shape the side of his face just like that. So create the shadow on the side of his face. Just on the edge. So sticks out. And also he has some really dark shadows under his chin. We'll get to that later, but for now we can just add a little dark shadow over here in the corner, like that. And under his face, he has a round shadow. So just sketch it in a little bit. It's the shape of the shadow, like in the example over here. And for that, you can just shade it in really lightly using hatching. So just lines in whichever direction you want, but it has to be in one direction. It's a little bit darker over here. So I'll just layer more lines on top of that. And let's move on, if you haven't already, to the right side of the face. So shade the same way. But if you have the picture, you will notice that this side is a little bit darker than this one. Only a little bit, it's barely noticeable. So we're going to make this a little bit lighter, but still dark. So shade following the growth of his fur. If it goes down, it goes down. If you shade sideways, it looks weird. So create a little triangle here, just to show that there's hair underneath that's a little bit darker. And same on here. Little triangle. And shade underneath. The edges are very dark and black, so we're going to shade the edges like this on this side. Okay, and then we're going to connect, because here is kind of empty. So we want to connect this to the top of his ears. So going down, just keep filling in that fur. And use the little technique that we did here with the up and then down and then down up. It's just a pattern for the edges of the face. So go up and then down, down, up, something like that. It can be very random. You just kind of want to blend out the edges so it's not like a line. Okay. Okay, and whenever you're ready, we're actually going to move on to the body. So right now he looks like a head on a triangle. We're going to fill in this empty space with the same style of shading from the mane. So he actually has a little white scarf around his neck. So what that looks like is we're going to leave this part white because it is white. And then on this corner, leave a little bit of space and then start drawing the same sort of curly hair combined with this S shape. Go all the way down, just like that. Something simple. Once you're done that, just start shading it in like this, but on this side. The good thing about my dog is that his fur is very long, so you can't see his feet. So we don't have to draw feet today. He's just sitting in the snow. Yeah, so I'm just cross-hatching here. So basically lines that go in whatever direction I want. I didn't do it for his face because his face is more organized, but compared to his face, the body, his hair is a little bit more messy. So you can just do whatever you want. I'm actually gonna make his body a little bit longer because compared to his head, his body is actually really long. So this is where he should have ended. That's where the floor should start instead of up here. But that's okay. Maybe the snow is really tall. So I'm just randomly sketching out some snow in the corner. Snow's like curvy. It's like clouds. Okay. And then shade in this area. And I feel like adding some more curly wispies on the side of his face. So with the up and downs, just draw some really light lines. Okay, next, we're just gonna continue working on the fur, but this time it's the white fur. And although it's white, we still want to draw some lines, just really light lines to indicate, to show you that there is fur here and not just empty space. So what we're gonna do is just around the edges, just a few lines like that. It can be in whatever direction you want. Okay, and if you are good with that, the next step will be the background. So this is optional. Don't have to draw the background, but I feel like it would really give energy to this piece. So it's not just a blank background. Let's put that away. So background is just some snow and a dark wall behind it. If you have the photo, I edited the background so it's blurry, but let's just draw the snow. So the line that cuts across in the back shows us where the snow is. So it's gonna start here. Some wavy lines. Doesn't have to be straight. And over here, just really lightly, just brush across the horizon. And you create that snowy effect. Okay. Because the background is relatively light, you don't want to bring too much attention or detail to it. So just keep your strokes really relaxed. And I'm going to add a little bit of a snow pile everywhere. So it's kind of like drawing clouds, if you've ever drawn clouds before. There's a little bit of a curvy shape and then disappears. So I can show you an example of what it kind of looks like. There's just these tiny, well, let's make that bigger. Round shapes. Then you would shade here. So make sure you make these slightly lighter than what I'm doing right now, because if it's too dark, it will distract from the subject. So put these everywhere in the snow. Yeah, and as you get further into the background, do less of these curly things and more of a kind of like a sea or beach. Just nice, smooth strokes. There's a little bit of that on this side, not too much. And there's a little bit of a shadow. So if you just want, draw the shape of the shadow first, and then lightly fill it in. Okay, and the last part of this drawing, if you want, is to fill in the background with a light layer of shading. So just like you would do with pencil, I like to hold mine at the very end. So not all at the tip, further back, and just sketch. It's not coming out. And change a little bit in direction. What I'm doing here is just following the edge of the dog and then bringing it into the background. Not all the way, but just a little bit to meet the edge of the paper. So since this ear is tilted this way, I would shade it this way. And the top of the head is flat, so I'll shade it flat. And here, you would blend those two together by that. Okay. And just go all around, fill up this entire space. There you go. Ooh, that's a little bit better. Okay, and for the very final bit, if you have a black pen, marker, Sharpie, anything, I'm just using another black ballpoint pen. We're going to make the dark parts a little bit darker. So I'm going to start with the ears. Just go over what you have already drawn. So it's not trying to make new lines, just trying to make the blue a little bit darker. So if you can see, there's a slight difference. All right, and just do that for all the darkest areas. I like to do this because it adds, because of the two different colors or shades, it adds a little bit of a depth to your drawing. Maybe I'm blend this part out just a little bit. And I think we're done. So that is the complete drawing. You guys enjoyed that. It's complete.